This is Later That Same Life, my weekly podcast. I'm Larry Fedoruk. This podcast is on most major platforms, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Get automatic notifications when new episodes appear. Feedback is always welcome. LarryFedoruk37@gmail.com. That's Fedoruk. LarryFedoruk37@gmail.com.
Season 1, Chapter 13, Movies, the Sequel.
Last week I talked about movies, the possible end of the movie house, streaming channels, choices, expense, and much more. One question remains. What is a movie? Does that sound like a stupid question? It's been on my mind for a number of reasons, many of which I will look into. But for the 21st century, what is a movie? You should know that very commonly in my world, I use the word content. Whatever platform, stage, venue that is out there, it needs content. From there, we divided up different content, different terms. A radio show, a TV show, a podcast, a play, etc. And within those, subcategory terms as well. And there's movies. I'm sure most people know the term movies comes from a short form or nickname for moving pictures. Kind of glad it worked out that way. Brief history. In the 1890s, we had the Lumiere brothers of France, manufacturers of camera equipment, and their new cinematograph. What a contraption. It was a motion picture system, and they produced short films to showcase it. Meanwhile, back in America, Thomas Edison and his British assistant, William Dixon, knew the competition was out there. In 1890, they had introduced their kinetograph. This is all from the word kinetic, origins from the Greek, relating to motion. Imagine if kinetograph as a name caught on. Might we be going to the Kinneys? Seen any good Kinneys lately? The word cinema did stay with us for these last 130 years, and basically it's the French version of kinetic. By 1905, we had theaters that showed these motion pictures or movies. Movies and movie theaters were off and running. In short order, the birth of Hollywood as a North American and world movie capital. I share the history because I find it interesting, but also because it was pretty easy to define what a movie was at the turn of the 20th century, and for about the next 100 years. A movie was a moving picture show you saw at a movie house, a cinema. Movies didn't come to you, you went to the movies. For a while, in the 1970s, we had a subcategory called the TV movie. TV came into our lives, for all intent and purpose, in the 1950s. I love rewatching some of those early days of television, because many of them were just making it up as they went along. That must have been fun. TV floundered around with a lot of this and that, and eventually realized that people would sit and watch it for hours on end. In some cases, whatever was on. TV would run old Hollywood movies, but they were broken up and in some cases cut back to allow for commercials. Somebody had to pay for this wonderful television service coming into our homes. One of the things I miss most about those days is actually the term idiot box. Watching TV was spending time in front of the idiot box. What are you sitting around in front of the idiot box for? Get outside and play. Yeah, but what's outside? Same old, same old. This is TV. A lot of people believe there wasn't much redeeming about television. Idiot box. Flat screens have taken away that wonderful expression. And what can we replace it with when we have these thin, flat screens? The idiot slice, the idiot slab, the idiot wafer. Eventually, TV networks produced longer-form shows, special events. They call them TV movies. TV movies featured TV stars instead of movie stars. there was still a big divide between a movie star and a TV star. Movie stars didn't do TV, unless it was a talk show, maybe occasionally a game show. Actors did movies and TV, whatever work they could get. Some of them became stars. But once you were a movie star, you didn't show up on a TV show. It's still mostly like that. I always heard the premise that the difference between a movie star and a TV star was that if you ran into a TV star, say at the airport, you wouldn't feel afraid to approach them and say hi. TV also did some spectacular mini-series, but those weren't TV movies, or a movie made for TV. A movie made for television kind of had a second-class quality to it.
I know what you're saying. Thanks, Professor Larry, for the history lesson. Will any of this be on the test?
Perhaps. So we rolled along and we understood what a movie was, and its poor idiot cousin, the TV movie. We went out to the movies. Along came videotape. So the movies could now come to you. Just required a visit to Blockbuster, or my favorite, the local independent video rental place. Everybody had one of those around, right? Somewhere nearby in a strip mall.
Yeah, I'm a member. I got the card here somewhere. Hang on.
Many of those featured an adult section. I remember ours was behind a curtain because many of the video display boxes were not for all eyes. No one could see you once you were inside to peruse titles, but you didn't want to be caught coming out. It was okay if you bumped into someone you knew inside because, well, they were in there too. But if a parent of one of your kids' friends sees you coming out of the adult section, well,
Bobby's not allowed for sleepovers at our house anymore.
Oh, really?
Well, I can't think of a reason why.
For a long time at the strip mall across from the Walmart, there was an adult video store. Big block letters, adult video. It was next to a motorcycle place. Motorcycle place parking lot, full. No one in the store. Everyone parked at the motorcycle store and then sauntered over to the adult video mart. Hey, was that your car I saw on 9th Street the other day? Yeah, I'm thinking of getting a Harley. Videotapes and eventually DVDs allowed movies to come to us. Well, there was always that one high-tech me-first wizard in the neighborhood who had the laser disc. How many people bet the future on laser discs? So movies came home. We didn't have to go out, other than to the video store. And we could watch it over and over to our heart's content during that 24 or 48-hour period. Please be kind. Rewind. But we had the movie definition in our head. We knew we were renting movies. These were from the cinema. You could even own them. We just didn't make it to the cinema, so now we're going to watch it at home on the small screen. In some cases, the movies were never even hits in the theaters, but somehow later found their audience through video rentals and the Idiot Box. Listen, I'll mention at this time that determining the definition of a movie is not crucial. It's just I'm always interested in terminology, our vernacular, and how we just use terms all the time without really knowing their meaning, only the meaning that society has assigned to them. A movie. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences formed quickly as movies and movie houses became popular. They were among one of the first industries to understand, hey, if we form like a trade association and give ourselves awards, it helps to promote the entire industry. Brilliant for its day. The Academy Awards people, the Oscar folk, have been around for about 100 years, and they are still stuck on the definition of a movie. It's something you go to at a movie theater. For a film to qualify for an Oscar nomination, a statuette, and even to be defined as a movie, it must have a movie theater run in the calendar year it hopes to qualify. and at least in Los Angeles for consecutive days. At a minimum of 3 shows per day, and one of those showings has to be between 6 and 10 p.m. True. That was fine back in the day when the movie theater was the only place you could see a movie, but geez, Academy, try and catch up. They did temporarily bend that rule because of the pandemic, but otherwise the Oscars, just another way they seem stuck in the past. Hey, remember hearing about those movie stars and producers who had mansions with a screening room, a movie screen, and a projector, and they watched movies at home?
Wow, wouldn't it be cool to be rich and be able to watch movies at home?
For over 100 years, the movie studios made movies and distributed them to the theater chains for public access. Well, it's 2021. Netflix is like a movie studio. They make movies, but they have their own distribution system already in place. It's called streaming. So successful that places like Paramount, whose business was making movies, have set up their own streaming services as well. Theaters and theater owners are just in the way now. Of course, there's still the Academy. A movie is in a theater. So, like Netflix, when they make quality Oscar-worthy material, they have to book a theater. They have to run the movie consecutive days, 3 shows a day, 6 to 10 p.m., etc. Hey, are you going to go see that movie at the theater? No, it's on Netflix in 2 days. So what defines content as a movie? Is it something you see in a movie theater? Well, no, because, for example, during the playoffs, your local theater might run your basketball team's away games on the big screen. That's not a movie. Have you ever gone to a movie theater to see a documentary? Sure. Did you call that going to the movies? Well, then a movie is an extended form film that tells a story from beginning to end. No, because films often leave unanswered questions that may or may not be resolved in a sequel or prequel, or as part of a trilogy. Remember, you only used to make a sequel when a movie was highly successful and warranted one? Now, sequels, prequels, multiple stories within a similar universe are all planned well in advance. Example, today people call it the Godfather trilogy, but only because they made 3 of them. Francis Ford Coppola just wanted to make that first one. After the success, they made another. Wow, just as good, if not better. Then came the director's cut. Then years later, a 3rd one, the one they should have never done. People still say, was The Godfather 3 that bad? Yes, but only if you've ever seen the other 2. We may think of The Godfather as 3 movies, even though rare is the time they will run all 3 of them on TV. The movie channels usually run 1 and 2 back to back. I'll record them and watch them over several nights. Yet no one is saying that I'm watching a mini-series on TV. No, I'm watching a movie. How about Queen's Gambit? That was good. I enjoyed that. It was a Netflix mini-series, 7 episodes. Each one looked like a movie to me, but we didn't call it that. Netflix mini-series. What if instead they had cut that into 3 movies and put it out into theaters? Would we call it the Queen's Gambit trilogy? Possibly. What were Kill Bill and the Matrix movies? A series of them released to theaters over the course of years. If you made 6 hours of Kill Bill today, exactly the same, and ran it over 4 nights on Netflix, we'd call it a miniseries and not a movie. Today there are half-hour shows, original content, quality series with great actors, great scripts, great production values. I watch them in half-hour installments, but sometimes it feels like I'm watching a movie. I'm just breaking it up over several nights, like I do with The Godfather. Movies are a big industry, big money, so they are not about to let the term go anytime soon. They will make these films and call them movies, and the movie theater, as a distributor, will try and hang on as long as they can. The VCR was the beginning for us. We could start to schedule our screen time based on our own agenda. PVR, streaming, on demand, all of that has only enhanced our capability. Going to the movie theater, to me, seems cumbersome, inconvenient, and ancient.
I gotta go sit there for how long? How many ads are you running before the movie? I gotta play trivia on my phone with that idiot? I can't fast forward, pause, or anything?
'Cause if that's watching a movie, no thanks. The gatekeepers of entertainment didn't relinquish their control easily. This is the show. This is the movie. This is when it's out. This is when it's on. It's taken about 40 years for us to wrestle that control away. Appointment TV? Are you kidding? Screw you. I think we all prefer the streaming model. You want to see a series? Here's every episode all at once. Watch as you will. Binge. It's all the same to us. Multiple options, multiple screens. A byproduct of that is the shortened attention span. I think that's one of the reasons action blockbusters are being churned out. I guess they figure if they just overload the senses for about 100 minutes, we won't have the ability to tune out. And since they've told us that we need to see it on a big screen, we're locked in the theater like prisoners. Is that a movie? You know, because shortened attention span works really well at home. Pause, rewind, fast forward. The 3 commandments of the easily bored or distracted. So what's a movie? Hey, it's all moving pictures, content. With the exception of news, I watch everything on demand, and I watch it all in shorter segments over different periods of time. Much of it feels like a movie, based on some vague definition I've formed over the years. I don't go to the movies. Last quote-unquote movie I saw was Mank with Gary Oldman, nominated for some Oscars. It was on Netflix. I actually watched it on my desktop over 2 days. I don't go to movies, and I don't watch TV. It's all just screen time now, and I absorb content. I think I can absorb as much as 3 times the content of the average moviegoer. I am the quicker picker-upper.
Later That Same Life is a weekly podcast series written, voiced, and produced by Larry Fedoruk. A new episode every Thursday. LarryFedoruk37@gmail.com.
The movies.